Imagine a world hanging by a thread, waiting for a savior. For centuries, the kingdom of Eldoria has clung to a single hope, the prophecy of the Sunstone. It spoke of a chosen hero, one who would gather 3 sacred relics: the tear of the ocean, the breath of the mountain, and the heart of the forest. With these, the hero would perform a ritual at the Sunstone altar, banishing the encroaching shadow that was slowly consuming their world. This prophecy wasn't just a story. It was their lifeline, etched into their history and whispered in every home. And then he appeared. Kalan, a young man with extraordinary courage and a heart full of light. The signs were undeniable. A birthmark shaped like the Sunstone, an uncanny ability to calm the wild beasts of the land. He was the one. The kingdom rejoiced. Their hero had finally come. Kalan, burdened by the weight of expectation but fueled by a fierce love for his people, accepted his destiny. He knew the path would be hard, that sacrifices would be necessary, but for Eldoria, he would endure anything. His journey began with the terror of the ocean. The prophecy led him to the treacherous sunken city of Lyra, a place of mesmerizing beauty and deadly sirens. To claim the tear, he had to outwit the Siren Queen, whose songs could drive any mortal to madness. The queen presented him with a choice: the tear, or the life of his childhood friend, Ilara, who had been lured into the depths by the city's magic. With a heavy heart, Kalan remembered the prophecy's warning: personal bonds must be severed for the greater good. He chose the tear, turning his back on Ilara as the waters closed over her. The first sacrifice was made. The kingdom hailed his resolve, calling it a necessary pain on the road to salvation. But for Kalan, the victory felt hollow, a cold stone in his gut. Next was the breath of the mountain, hidden atop the highest peak of the Dragon's Tooth Range. This was the domain of ancient, wise dragons who guarded the relic. They tested not his strength, but his spirit. The elder dragon revealed that the breath was woven into the very life force of the mountain. Taking it would cause the peak to crumble, burying the ancestral dragon nesting grounds forever. The dragons, ancient protectors of the land, would be lost. Kalan pleaded for another way, but the prophecy was clear. The relic must be taken. He closed his eyes, drew the breath into a crystal vial, and fled as the mountain groaned its death rattle behind him. He didn't look back. 2 relics were now his, but the cost was mounting. The light in his eyes began to dim, replaced by a hardened, grim determination. The final relic was the heart of the forest, located in the ancient woods of Sylvanar, a place teeming with vibrant life and guarded by ethereal spirits. Here, the challenge was one of pure sacrifice. The guardian of the forest, a being of light and leaves, explained that the heart was not an object, but a living essence. To claim it, Kalan had to offer a life of equal value, a life of pure innocence. As he contemplated this impossible task, a young, silver-furred wolf he had rescued and befriended on his journey nuzzled his hand. Lyra, he had named her, a faint echo of the friend he had lost. The guardian's gaze was sorrowful but unyielding. He had to choose. The wolf, his only companion, his symbol of hope, or the fate of the kingdom. With tears streaming down his face, Kalan made the final sacrifice. The forest wept with him as he took the heart, its warm glow, a stark contrast to the cold emptiness spreading within him. Kalan would turn to hero. The people cheered, their faces bright with hope. He was gaunt, haunted, but he had succeeded. He had the tear of the ocean, the breath of the mountain, and the heart of the forest. The final step was the ritual at the Sunstone altar, perched high above the capital city. As a total eclipse began to cast the world in twilight just as the prophecy foretold, Kalan ascended the altar. He placed the relics on their designated pedestals. The tear began to glow with a deep blue light, the breath swirled with misty white energy, and the heart pulsed with a vibrant green. The ground trembled. The people below watched in awe, their salvation just moments away. He began the ancient incantation. The energy from the relics surged, not into the sky to banish the shadow, but down, deep into the Sunstone itself. The stone, once a symbol of hope, cracked open, and from the fissure, a torrent of pure, unadulterated shadow energy erupted. It wasn't being banished. It was being unleashed. The sky turned from twilight to pitch black. The shadow, once a creeping mist at the edges of the kingdom, now billowed forth like a tidal wave, consuming the light, twisting the very fabric of the land. Panic erupted below. The cheers turned to screams of terror. Kalen stood frozen, his mind unable to process the horror unfolding. And then, a voice echoed from the heart of the swirling darkness. A voice that was both ancient and chillingly familiar. It was the voice of Lord Malachor, the ancient sorcerer of shadow, the very evil the prophecy was meant to defeat. He had been imprisoned within the Sunstone for millennia. His power contained. A shadowy form coalesced before Kalen Malachor. "Thank you." "Little Hera!" he hissed, his voice dripping with triumphant sarcasm. "For 1,000 years, I have been trapped. My power was bound by the very things you sought." He gestured to the relics. The tear of the ocean contained my sorrow, the breath of the mountain held my rage, and the heart of the forest imprisoned my life force. They were my chains, not your keys. Kalen stared, his face a mask of disbelief. "The prophecy," he whispered, his voice cracking. Malachor laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "Oh, the prophecy. My greatest creation! A masterpiece of manipulation, passed down through generations, waiting for a fool desperate enough, noble enough, to follow it to the letter. Every sacrifice you made, every bond you severed, every piece of your soul you chipped away. You are not purifying yourself for the light. You are making yourself an empty vessel, strong enough to channel the immense power needed to break my seals." He spread his arms, embracing the darkness that was now devouring Eldoria. "You gathered the scattered pieces of my soul. You performed the ritual of my rebirth! Your sacrifices didn't save your kingdom. They fueled my return. You are not their savior, Kalen. You are their doom!" The truth crashed down on Kalen with the force of a collapsing mountain. Elara the dragon's their deaths were not noble sacrifices. They were fueled for the fire that was now consuming everything he had ever loved. He had walked the path of the hero, only to become the villain's most effective tool. As Lord Malachor's laughter echoed across the ruined kingdom, Kalen fell to his knees, a broken hero on a broken altar, watching as the world he fought to save was swallowed by a darkness he himself had set free. The prophecy was fulfilled, not as a tale of salvation, but as the perfect, final victory of evil. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy stories that explore the darker side of classic fantasy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time!